Yeah, I'm like super asleep. You love this game? I like the game too. Don't play for 24 hours. Don't. It's a cool game. Don't play it for 24 hours. Wait, I still gotta set things up properly. Just, like, it is a very cool game. I really like it. Even with the 8 hours. No, 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 no. Smash. Look down at the time. We're on the last 2 hours. I've already done that. We're gonna save the narrator hassle. But here, let me show you a couple of them. I'm not gonna show you enlightenment, but because I hate this noise.
Is about to burrow into your skull. Aren't you excited for spiritual immortality?
This.
For transcendence and oneness?
We're stopping it. I can't. There you go. That's enough proof. I pressed the button. I pressed both buttons for over 4 hours because there was a point in the thing where. Let me fix the game. There was a point in the thing where the controls stopped responding, so I lost 15 fucking minutes. I was fortunately making constant checkpoints, saving over and over to make sure I didn't lose all my progress. And do you know what came out of this? Do you know what came out of all this? A couple of things. A few things. The first one,
This
enlightenment.
is the story of a man named Stanley.
I have become enlightened. I understand what the
Stanley
baby
worked
game
for a
is.
company in a big building
I hate it.
where he was
I hate it with a
employee
passion
number
now.
427.
Oh, we can. Hang on.
Employee.
You can't hear it for a moment. It'll be back. Oh, and no, we're gonna let the intro roll, but I can appreciate the art
This is the
that which
story
it
of a man
is.
named Stanley.
I'm gonna have to fix it still because technically it's off. Whatever.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building
But-
where he was employee number 4.
I've done that. What else have I done?
427's
I
job
have
was simple.
explored
He sat at his desk in room
beyond
427,
activating
and he pushed
console
buttons
commands.
on the keyboard.
I have discovered
Orders came to him through a
every
box on his
Easter
desk.
egg
Tell
in
him
this
what
game.
buttons to push,
I have
how long to
discovered
push them,
every
and in
glitch.
what order.
I have seen
This is what
every
employee
ending 2 to
427
3
did
times,
every day,
possibly up to 5.
of every year.
I have
Although
speedrun
others
Stanley
might have
Parable
considered it soul
once.
eating, Stanley
I
relished
have
every
discovered
minute that the
a
orders
new
gave,
glitch
as though he had
that
been
has
made
never
in
been
some
documented
purpose.
before.
And Stanley was happy.
I took an 8-hour break in between where
And then
Stanley
one
Parable
day,
was
something
going on
very
in the
peculiar
background.
Something that would forever change Stanley.
And
Something he would never quite forget.
in that time,
He had been at his
I
desk
played
for nearly
Super
an
Mario
hour
Odyssey
when he
and got some
realized that not
relaxation
one
and got to
single
take care of
order
other
had
things. and
arrived
it
on the
was
monitor
nice.
for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
I'm just
Never in
snapping.
all
Like,
his years at the company
I wasn't
had
actually
this
expecting myself to
this
snap.
complete isolation.
I've legit
Something was
snapped.
very clearly wrong. Shocked,
So we're
frozen
gonna
solid,
start
Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time.
by
But as he
immediately
came to his
entering
wits and regained his senses, he got
Button
up from
Heaven.
his desk
We're
and
just
stepped.
going to go straight there. It's there. We can enjoy it for a moment. I'm just gonna fix up the screen. Perfect. We're just gonna go to button heaven. And we're gonna take a couple deep breaths. Also, I should have that ready to see things. Let's see. Big Spites, thank you for the follow, sweetie. If you want to see the glitch that I discovered, have you... Oh, the broom closet ending. The broom closet ending is my favorite ending. Alright. Alright. I let out the tension. I've breathed. Why don't we show... How do we want it to start? How do we want to start?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility?
What do you guys want? Because I know a lot of you are kind of just coming in and haven't seen the last 22 hours.
The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me.
So what do you want to see? Do you want me to quickly go over a bunch of endings? Do you want me to show you a couple of the glitches that I found? Do you want me to start by showing you the glitch I discovered?
He no longer had the ability to
Do you want me to show you
the one thing he knew for sure beyond
some of the interesting things that I came across?
The answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon.
Yeah, this is the only time I'm ever going to do it.
He will be told what to do. Now,
even if the new update has a lot of cool stuff,
now it's even closer.
I am not doing this
Here
again.
It comes.
Let's start with the glitches. So, I'm gonna show you my personal glitch that I came up, that I concocted.
Wait,
it's a little bit inspired by
the right office, is it?
some of what others have already done, but with a couple of touches of my own. My own stubbornness and sheer determination has led to the creation of, let's call it the salesman. So, you're going to ask, I know a lot of you are going to ask me, a couple of you are aware of what the salesman is, but I know a lot of you are going to ask, Maleef, what is the salesman? It's exactly what it sounds like. You're an aggressive salesman.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
I'll show you on a door that I can be more effective in.
And Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to
Here,
stop by
let
the
me
employee
show
lounge
you
first,
what the
just to
salesman
admire
is.
it.
So, say
It was okay.
say somebody's trying to close the door on you, but you're
eager
really
to
wanting
get
to
back
make
to
a
business,
sale.
Stanley took the
What would
first
you
open
do?
door on his left.
You would aggressively attack the door until opened, wouldn't you? So you know most of these doors, like the ones before, they've closed. If we come up to this, it doesn't open. This one is very much the case. That one's very much the case. That one down there, very similar.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
The door's open. It's just open. So, I can show a little more clearly with this next door. It's a lot easier to replicate with this next door. And also this door is a lot more entertaining to have it happen with. So what you want to do is you position yourself so that you can quickly step out of the range of the door to convince Stanley or the narrator that it's time to close the door. But there are certain doors that have certain ranges that are really short range, so that you can get him to activate the door to close, but then you can step right back into the door and prevent it from closing. Certain doors don't work with this, but other ones will do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the door to light. Now, what does this really do? Nothing really. If you combine it with the escape route ending, the one with the rocket and everything, you can actually do something pretty cool. So, as you know, you can actually do that with a lot of these other doors.
Not a single person here.
A lot of these other ones aren't important. I can catch this one. Those two are actually the most important. You have to do it with those two. Any of these other ones, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so... It's locked, whatever. So, you know, he generally talks to you. And he's always around with you all the time.
Coming to a staircase,
but you know, when you go for the
upstairs
escape rocket ending, you end up cutting off contact with him. And he just stops talking to you, right? We just bait him out.
Here's the door.
There we go. So we're gonna carry back down here a little bit. And you'll notice that this door's open again. This door's open. Now there's one thing that happens that kind of goes alongside it. So to open up these doors, as you might have noticed, we had to go through the door to the right. Which meant that we couldn't go through the door to the left, which is the main way that you want to get the escape rocket ending. So if, say, we want to go through here, it's going to glitch. Locks us out. We don't get that path. If you want that path, you have to go left. But it's okay. Because we have a new path to explore. So, judging from how some of you are reacting, you know this game pretty well. You're big fans of this game. You understand what's coming up next. You understand, you have a solid idea of what the narrator is going to say when we enter this next room. Why don't we take a guess? What do you guys think what do you think he's going to say? What do you think he's going to say when I walk through here? Jimbo guesses nothing. He's gonna call us out. I'll take those as the two guesses that we've got. They're pretty fine enough. So we're just gonna play with these doors because some, like, as you'll notice, some of them are a lot trickier to land than others. That one's really spiky. This one's a little awkward too. You can get this one to work, but I've only done it once and it's really difficult. So we're just gonna go on this here right now. Huh, gee, it sure is awfully quiet around here. I wonder if somebody's waiting for me or something. I don't know. Sure it'd be nice if somebody was telling me what's going on, eh? Oh. Oh, hey, a phone. I don't know why this phone's here. Nobody told me anything. There's just a phone here all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on. I don't trust it. Could be a scammer. Could be somebody trying to sell hot dogs. I don't like hot dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the most awkward moment of 2019 to start. I actually really like hot dogs. It was a bad joke. What a terrible ending. Like, it's just awkward silence. Like, I guess this is it. I don't know. There's not really anything else that happened, eh? Can't leave. Can't really pick up the phone. I kind of plugged it. This is like really awkward. Just silent now. I don't know. Gee. Now we're just left here, alone with our thoughts. This is like really long and awkward. It's silent. And weird. This is extremely lonely. Oh, what's this? Choice. We're gonna learn something. Choice. Yes. This is choice. I'm guessing. I don't know. It said choice, then it shows this man. Choice. He seems to be a very generous man. He's giving this child a flower. But he's a very clever man. He planned ahead. Yeah, I honestly don't understand what happened there either. Sense. Yes. This. Sense right here. Fish. This person. You see this person right here. No sense. None. Not sense. That's not sense. Fish is sense. That person not sense. You understand? Yeah, I think it would be good to do a bit of a practice session on this. Let's practice. I don't understand what I'm practicing.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular
the voice
basis
is back.
is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
So, as you might have guessed,
welcome back.
Jimbo is absolutely correct.
This room has begun to deteriorate.
The narrator was trapped in the other room, and as such, he was not able to
on good decision making,
communicate with us.
Revisit a choice you made just a
that
few
led
minutes
to
ago and see what the
many
correct thing
situations
to do would have
where
been.
he was definitely
This way,
still
please.
talking, but you couldn't hear what he was saying because he was somewhere else. Now, that causes some weird interactions with things, such as that explanation video, because lo and behold, that's actually him doing that. So there's no discussion there either. You just get the pictures.
Jumping off the platform and dying.
Now you're probably wondering, why is he back now?
Halfway through the story.
You might have noticed though that when we came back, like after the practice and everything, the room was different.
It seems this place is not well equipped.
So what helps him return back and just continue as if nothing had ever happened is whenever a loading screen happens, provided you don't go into a loading screen, he never returns. So that means that you can't necessarily get this glitch for something, say like the confusion ending.
Almost there. You'll take the door on
or
the
you
left,
can't get
back
it
to the
for
correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real
enlightened
world.
ending, because there's a loading bar there. Now you might be going like,
Now,
wait,
remember, all you need to
I
do
didn't
is
see a loading
behave
bar
exactly
there.
as Stanley would. That means
That's
choosing
where you're wrong.
responsibly and
There
always
actually was a
putting the
loading bar.
story first.
So-
I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my
You
lead
don't
and
see
you'll be
it,
fine.
but
All right.
the reason why the room
When Stanley
changes,
came
they
to
have
set
to
up
load
2
it,
open doors,
which quite
he
literally
entered the
means
door on his left.
that loading happens. And if loading happened,
No!
then the
Why did
narrator's
you do
back.
that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Getty, I was actually gonna ask you to later make a. We were gonna flip through some of the parts of this stream, and we were just gonna make like rather than a clip, like a solid like 5-minute video talking about this thing. I might come back a later time and I'll just actually do like a whole solid professional explanation of what's going on and some of the interactions.
So much garbage. It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were
clips are awesome though. I do appreciate clips. We got like 4 of them from this interaction. I love you all. Feel free to share it. Do what you want.
I couldn't live
like I made a clip myself some time ago. I want to get this to show up on the glitches on Stanley Parable wiki.
What do I do?
I find it genuinely hilarious.
I have to shut the game down. I have to.
The door glitch, the aggressive salesman, you can get. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, Daddy. So don't worry about it really. Just do what you're wanting to do. I'll message you later. We'll sort things out from there. But for now, clips. Let's have fun with the clips. Yeah, the aggressive salesman technique. It doesn't work on every door. It works on some doors. While it's cool and it does a couple of things, it really is only usable for just messing around. There's also another really cool moment where I can get it to work. In the confusion ending, where you get to do another kind of silly thing.
Impress upon you how important it was.
I might as well show that.
He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something,
what you just saw,
good reason for it.
And then the one moment in confusion ending, those are about the highlights of the aggressive salesman.
You're a child. Oh, my story.
Beyond that, there's a couple of silly basic glitches that have been found by the community beforehand, and they work out pretty well. They're entertaining, they're funny.
I tried so hard.
But they're not glitches made by me.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his
as you
left.
might have noticed with me getting really frustrated and stressed out because of this game, I do love this game. It's an awesome game. I'm just...
Yet there was not a single person here
streaming
either.
This game...
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
at
Stanley
least
decided
straight
to go up
for
to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
12
there.
hours to find every single little spare detail that you possibly could and combing over it. It can be a little exhausting, to say the least. So I'm just
stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again
I'm a very tired
to
woman
discover
right now.
Not an indication of any human life.
Very worn out.
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this.
I did end up having like an 8-hour break where Stanley Parable was still running. It was running in the background.
This door lay all the answers
but
to
it was
questions.
still running.
And beyond all
so technically I was still working towards this achievement.
He had seen
We're
it
still
on
working
his
towards
boss's
commitment.
computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door?
I still love this game.
There was only
when
one
the
way to
update
find
comes out, I'm going to
Stanley
go
had been trained never to speak
so
up,
much into
but
this
now
game.
He would draw
I
from
just
within
hope it doesn't
himself
come
the
out
courage
for
to
another like
face the
3-4
unknown.
months so that I have
He
time to
drew a
breathe
sharp breath
after this.
and then
Like,
spoke the code.
I want to die. Kind of. But not to the fault of this game. It was my decision to do this. But I was encouraged by the game.
Stanley spoke the code.
I ain't speaking to it.
115.
Doesn't even work.
He spoke it into the receiver.
I've tried. It doesn't.
I'm sorry, is there a problem?
So we're gonna play around a little bit.
mishear me,
We're
did
gonna look
you?
at a couple other
Please
things. I'll show you
speak the
the
code into the
confusion
receiver.
ending aggressive
Otherwise
salesman.
we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
But beyond that, yeah, like It's Stanley
Okay,
Parable.
fine. You're
There's
not
a
gonna
lot
do
of
it,
running around.
but you
There's a
know
lot of
what?
silly
It's
interactions
pretty
of poking
humiliating to
and
bring you
giggling.
this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing
That
for your
glitch is
respect.
genuinely my
The
most
kind
favorite
of
thing about this
respect
game right
Stanley
now,
shows for
and
his
that's
choices.
100%
He
because
knows
I
what it means
found
to
it.
take a story seriously.
There is
If
so
you
much
didn't want to see
arrogant
what I
pride
had
in
to
that,
show you, then
especially
why did
since
you
I was
come
so
here?
desperate
You had a
and
choice, you know. You could have gone
tired,
through the door on the
just
right.
looking
You
for
could have done
some
whatever
kind
the
of
hell you
entertainment
wanted
to
over
happen
there. Why did you come
while
this
I
way?
was streaming this.
Say
And
something
then
to
I
me.
just found
Explain yourself, you coward.
this glitch, and I was like,
When
yes!
Stanley came to a set
Yes!
of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I went so deep into it for like a solid hour or two.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
So, what are we gonna do now?
The story needs you. It needs
I
you
know,
to
this
make a
is- this
decision.
part's a little
It cannot
sad.
exist without you. Do you understand me?
He's
Whatever
a
choice you
character
make is
where,
just
in
fine.
a lot
I'm
of
not correct.
cases,
You
he
can't
comes
do
off
wrong
as a
here. We
massive
can work
jerk.
together.
And then
I
other
accept
cases,
whatever
you
do. I simply need you to
feel
take
bad
that
for
step
him.
forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to
G-Easy.
decide. Time to make sure
I do
your
appreciate
choice
the
is
follows.
correct. That is the
I
best
appreciate the
choice.
support. Thank you all for the clips. Yeah, share them. Have fun with
Only for
them.
you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time
I
as
would
you
be
need.
I would be so entertained if any of this ended up somehow to any degree on the Stanley Parable wiki. The credits aren't supposed to be rolling still. This hasn't happened before. This
Stanley
game
had
is
never seen the
glitching
office
out
this
so
brightly
hard
lit.
on
Was
me.
it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Okay, we're gonna go for the confusion ending, and I'm gonna show you another weird thing that started happening all of a sudden, and I have like no explanation for it. I'll explain it in a bit, but
Stanley
I just
came
want
to
to
a
show
set
how
of 2
quickly and
open- This
easy
was
it
not
is
the correct
to
way to the meeting room,
replicate
and Stanley knew
the
it
aggressive
perfectly well.
salesman.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge.
Like, I'm not gonna
first,
try on a
just
lot
to
of doors.
admire
A
it.
lot of the ones that I know are difficult. This one's impossible, but it
It was
baits you
okay.
into feeling like it's possible, and then you're just stuck in the stalemate as you fight the door and try to get through. It won't back down. You have to give up, or at least I've had to.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So we're just gonna.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got
You just
back on
click
track.
rapidly, and you walk towards the door. And we'll do it here.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
And here.
hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase,
Can't do it
Stanley
there.
walked upstairs
Well, you might be
to
able to.
his
I think I did
boss's
it wrong.
office.
I might have done it wrong. I don't know. It's hard to say. I have no idea what I'm doing. That one's fine.
Here's the door.
Now the doors are already open. They're going to be open anyways. So it's like, it's kind of why it defeats the purpose of doing that. But I still find it entertaining. Also, normally that light actually works. If you come in that way, while the door's like that, light doesn't work. So we'll see. We're going to go for this path. His voice is going to come back right away.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from
This
here,
isn't the one. But I
yeah.
want to get this.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
I've been close to that door. I've almost got that door before. You just have to approach it right.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's
The aggressive
see.
salesman
Down,
works in
right,
the...
left, down, left.
In one of
right.
the
Yeah,
pretty...
okay,
as soon
okay,
as he does
yes.
his first reset,
I've got it now.
like,
This story is
one of the doors that
absolutely
normally don't work,
definitely this way.
just for one occasion, you can glitch through it. Oh, spoiler alert.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Wait,
Quick,
what
Stanley,
employee
close
is
your
this?
eyes.
That,
Okay,
why is
okay,
employee
we
3
just
just a hallway?
to,
Like, they're just the spiral staircase.
It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely
Look at
unusable.
that.
How about,
Who works
rather
in
than
a
waste
spiral-
my time
who
trying to
is
salvage
this?
nonsense, we'll just
Who are
restart the
these
game
two
from the
people?
beginning. And this time,
35 and
suppose we
3.
don't wander so far off track, hmm?
They're
Okay.
both just on
That's
spiraling
all.
staircases. Couldn't afford the office.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Here, I don't think we get to appreciate that plan enough, so we're gonna try to come back to this plan.
When Stanley... Wait.
There we go.
What? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game.
Now
over,
we can
completely
appreciate this
fresh.
plan.
Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we
No,
were
I
back
didn't.
in that room with all the monitors?
What are you
Did
talking
you
about?
move the
I don't-
story somewhere, or...
All I see is a closed door, mate.
Why am I
I
asking
don't-
you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here
I don't
just
know
a
what you're
minute
talking
ago.
about, buddy.
I know for sure that
Like,
it's here somewhere.
You kind of locked me out of the
Okay,
room.
then. It's an adventure.
I can't even see what you're talking
Come,
about.
Stanley. Let's find the story.
Where am I gonna go? Like, I'm just in this room. We're just gonna admire the plant. What else am I gonna do? I don't know. I can't find a story because I'm literally locked in this little cubicle area. He kind of closed the door on me like a butt. I mean, I did clip through the door, but...
I'll say it. This is
not
the
my
worst
fault.
adventure I've ever been on. I can
Maybe
promise
you
you,
shouldn't-
there
you
definitely
shouldn't have
was
locked
a
the door on
story
me.
here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over
That's
again.
about
But it's gotta be
it
better than
for
this.
the
Okay,
aggressive
let's give it a
salesman.
shot. Why not?
There's nothing else that I really got going on here. This is 9 clips now.
All of his
There's
co-workers were
one
gone.
more thing that I
What
find
could it mean?
entertaining that I'll show
Stanley
off.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
It
he
has
had
nothing to
simply
do with
missed a
this,
memo.
the aggressive salesman, but I like to dabble with this anyways as I try to go through things.
Okay.
You can
it's
tell
worse.
actually. When
I
you
might
start
be
to learn,
remembering
you'll
this
recognize
wrong.
when
It's
they
possible
literally
the story
create
is
walls.
back where we
Like there's a
just
wall right
came
here.
from.
You can tell because
Why
you
don't we
goes
go
up
back
like
the
this,
other
but if you
direction
go here,
and see if we missed
like,
anything.
it's not as close. And then as soon as he opens the door again, now they got rid of the block. Like there's actually a couple of points where I've recognized they create that block. One of them is in the phone ending. So you might think,
Aha!
well, I could use
I
this
knew
technique
we
to
missed
kind of
something.
slip out of the
story. Here
of
it
the
comes.
room so that the narrator
Wait,
can't just
Never mind, not the story. Okay,
humiliate
let's head back
me
the
and
other
get
way
me to be
and
forced into
retrace our
pressing buttons.
steps.
But no, they've got a block
Now this-
already. As soon
Well, I'll
as
be
you
honest, I
take
don't recognize
a
this
far
place
enough
at all.
step in,
Is this
they
the
have a
story?
block in place and you
I
can't
don't think
escape.
so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
I've won for the 5th time today!
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
What else is there?
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh yeah, the echo. I don't know what's going on, but I've got a save state that has this weird echo to it.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line.
This character is amazing. He's even got the TM.
See, the line knows
the
where
line
the story
would do
is.
so well
it's
for
over
Smash.
in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought.
I'm going to explain another
Wherever
interesting
we
little
end up
camera
being our
interaction that this
destination,
game has.
even if there's no story there.
When
Or
we
put it
get to the
another way,
point.
Is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
So let's explain this. Let's talk about this for a moment. You might notice this hallway, it seems oddly long. Well, you'd be right. It's kind of unnatural. It's moderately disturbing. I actually really want to go into this room, but you can't. You come out from this side. Kind of has that same issue. Now, I did a little bit of looking, and I think I kind of figured out what's going on with it. Okay. Basically what's going on is, as you can see, it's gone now. Completely destroyed. Just tossed aside, tossed out. So what happens is, the first time you come into this room, I haven't even played with this door actually, now I think about it. When you come into this room, it sets this up to be that hallway. And provided you don't pass over on this side or this side, that hallway will remain. Because it reads it if you're passing this way or you're passing this way. As you clearly see, I'm sticking to what the line wants me to do. So the game interprets that as you're sticking to the path, therefore it's okay for this to be there. Even if you go up like this and you go over and peek over, the path will be there. Because it's still seen as true. It's this path here and this path here that falsify that truth. And then yeah, you just do that, and so yeah, 432 is no proof there. It's gone.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
This is such a cool moment. I love it.
Wait, but we're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
Hoi, Para. So yeah, if we go back here.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after
What other
everything
messed
we've been
up?
through...
That employee's fired.
I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
We'll just start again. It's okay. Now, here's the challenge.
You know what, Stanley? I say
I don't
forget the
think you can
adventure
catch
line.
that
What's it
door.
ever done for us?
I really
We're
want to,
intelligent
but I
people,
don't
right?
think you can.
Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh,
Just
this
a
all
heads up
sounds
for anybody
perfectly
who
doable. Why don't
might
we
have
simply
things
start
set up in a way.
wandering Well, I don't know.
There is going to be
How
a
about
loud
this
noise warning
direction?
coming up in about 5 minutes.
Now,
Possibly
yes,
less.
This is
I'd say
exciting.
3 to 5 minutes.
Just me and
2 to
Stanley
5
forging
minutes.
a new path, a new story.
Let's go 2 to 5 minutes.
What do you want our story to be?
Loud noise warning coming
Go
up in
wild.
2 to 5 minutes.
Use your
3 to 5
imagination.
minutes.
Whatever
2
it
to
might
5
be,
minutes.
Stanley, I'm ready for
It's
it.
coming up soon, though.
Oh no, not you again.
I love how
Stanley,
drunkenly and
I'd
just
also like to
desperate
veto
the
the
line
line from
dives
having any
in.
role in our
And it just
awesome new
swerves all
story.
over the place.
No lines or
Crazed
monitor
and
rooms.
desperate
Just don't acknowledge it.
to steer
It should
things
be
again.
fun.
And then it just kind of slithers off.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision.
I remember the
From
first
here,
time I
the
played
story
this
is in our control.
when I was
How
like
important we
five
mustn't squander the
5.5 years
opportunity.
ago. Oh
In
no,
fact,
5 years
I
ago.
believe I need a minute to think.
It was
here.
actually
Just
pretty
walk
on
in
the spot
circles for a
5 years
minute.
ago.
Okay, so I know that each door has
Where-
to lead somewhere, which means that
This was like
somewhere, the
this
place
ending
where we're
was
trying
the
to
first
go,
time
there must
where I
be a
decided
reverse
to make my
door
own decision.
leading
I was like,
here.
I'm gonna be
And
different
that
from
in
what you told me to
turn
do.
means that
I
our
went that way,
destination
and I went in. I was like, look how
corresponds
cool
with
I am. I'm
the
gonna be edgy and come out here.
reverse door
And then I
of
got
origin.
scared
So starting from the
because
right,
things stopped
just
making
ask,
sense,
will
and I was
taking the right
confused.
door
So when
lead us to
it got
where
to the
we're
point where I
going?
literally
And
did
since the
everything
answer
he
is
said to
clear
a
yes,
T.
then by
So when he
all
said
accounts,
walk
the
in
door
a
on the
circle
right is
here,
the correct
I
one.
started walking
Another
in a
victory for
circle,
logic.
just being like,
Come,
okay,
Stanley.
okay.
Our destiny awaits.
Until he told me that it's fine to keep going. This one I don't think is possible either. There's too much
Hold
space.
up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is?
Loud noise
It's all
warning
one
within the
giant
next
ending?
30 to 60
And we're
seconds.
supposed to restart the game what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind
yeah,
goes blank
so we'll
simply
go over
because
the
it's
next
written here on
weird
this
glitch interaction
thing
that I've come across.
wall. Well, who consulted me?
This
Why
one,
don't I get to decide?
there is a decent
don't
amount of
I
noise,
get a
but I
say
do
in
actually
this?
strongly
Is it
recommend
really-
putting on a pair of
No, it can't
headphones,
be. I don't want it to
as
be.
it'll
I don't
really
want the
help you
game to
hear
keep
what's gonna be
restarting.
coming
I
up.
don't want to forget what's going
It's
on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't
for
restart
me,
the
my
game. I
current
won't
mental
do
state,
I
it was
won't do
overwhelming,
it.
and I couldn't
won't
think
do
properly
it.
because there were too many voices going on at once.
Stop.
But for somebody who is maybe
Does that
just a
mean
little worn out, a little
Did we
tired,
do it? Did we break the cycle?
or just
The whatever it is.
is
that made
alert
this
enough
schedule?
to
How would
understand
we
what's
even
going on,
know?
it could be
someone
genuinely
come first?
hilarious.
Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait.
The credits
you know.
rolling at the end.
I
That was
suppose
still
in some
really
way
weird.
that this is a kind of story.
That
Wouldn't you
wasn't
agree?
supposed to happen.
I'm not quite sure
I
if we're in
didn't-
the destination or the journey.
I know I'm doing
But
like a
they're always
glitch
saying that life is
exhibition
about
right
the
now.
journey and not the destination.
That was
So
not
I hope
intended
that's
to
the
be a
way
part
we'll
of that
take
glitch
now.
exhibition.
We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime,
Alright. So we're gonna come across some weird echo interactions now. It's actually gonna be really funny. Or I find it really funny. Even if I can't understand it because there's too many noises. So if it loads,
His
and I immediately
obligation.
hit this,
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of
It
the
gets
machine
better.
for yourself. Is
That's
that
the
what you
start.
wanted? Control?
like, you
Stanley,
get two of them
how
at the
bored you're
same
ever, I really
time.
do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do.
And then the
You
best
were
part happens
supposed to
within the
let it
last
go.
minute.
Turn the controls off.
So from
and
here, we're gonna
leave.
just kind of play around.
If you
in
want
here.
to throw my story
Do some
off
of my
track,
favorite
you're
stuff.
going to have to do much better
I'm gonna
than
try
that.
my
I'm
aggressive
afraid you don't
salesman
have
technique
nearly
on
the
that
power
door.
you think you do. For example, and I
Gotta be
believe
really
you'll
sneaky,
find
really
this
fast.
pertinent. Stanley suddenly realized he had just
might be able to finally
initiated the
escape, guys.
network's emergency
I think we
detonation
definitely
system.
got this one.
In
We
the
just have to
event
be
that
ready.
this machine is activated without proper DNA
You think I can do it? I got it. I think I got it.
nuclear detonators are said to
I just-
explode,
I
eliminating
just
the
need to get
entire
some
complex.
build up speed.
How long until
Yeah,
detonation then?
yeah, I feel my speed. I'm
Let's
ready to go.
say, 2 minutes.
Let's go.
Ah, now this is making things a little
It's
more
open.
fun,
Let's
isn't
go.
it,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
It's your time to shine. You
Oh.
are the star. It's your story now. Shape it
Ah.
to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better
I guess
than
we're
what
not
I had
doing
in
that.
mind. What a shame
You know
there's
what?
so little time left to
didn't
enjoy it.
even need that.
Mere moments
I've
until
got a better
the bomb
idea.
goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time
Yeah,
to talk about
let's play
you,
with these buttons for a bit.
about me, where
like-
we're going,
I like the
what
colors.
all this means. I barely know where to start.
Oh, I know. There's nothing behind them.
What's that?
I'm just playing.
You'd like to know
along.
where your co-workers are. A moment of solace.
Things will get
before
good in
you're obliterated.
about a minute,
All
minute
right, I'm in a
30
good
seconds.
mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was
This is my
merely
least
in this
favorite part.
instance of the story.
stop
Sometimes when I
working.
tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
Oh, how nice of him.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
The good part's
Dear
coming up
me,
right
what's
now.
the matter, Stanley? Is
Well,
it
maybe
that
not
you
right
have
now,
no
but it's coming
idea
up
where you're
right
going
away.
or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
Keep your ears open.
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Do you really believe there's enough, Stanley? How many times will you replay this point, looking desperate? But here's a spoiler for you: 10. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving on. Finding out. It's to watching the bomb away. Each time you fail. You're only still playing and
I
saying what
can't.
you need, because I want to watch you for every moment that you're.
I can't. There's too many of him.
All of eternity.
There's too many of him.
Died again. It's a tragedy. And wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
There's too many of him.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
Okay, it
No
stops.
ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully?
I just
Another
wanna
choice.
sleep.
Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
There's too many of him talking. I can't hear. Literally 2 of him. Too many. But yeah,
All of his co-workers were gone.
that
What could it
builds
mean?
up to about
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
the
memo.
glitch extravaganza for you. Yeah, basically, he had 2 conversations going on with you at once.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Huh. The plant ending. Oh, the plant ending was my favorite ending. You know, this has been a great game. This has been a great adventure.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
I know I
Feeling a
keep
wave
saying
of
this, like,
disbelief,
while I'm
Stanley decided
completely
to go
done with
up
this
to his
game and I
boss's
don't want
office,
to pick it up
hoping he
again,
might find an answer there.
it was a really nice experience.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Let's go do the normal ending. Then we're gonna go hang out in one more place for the final ending.
Here's the door, just go.
Actually, no, there's one more glitch that we can do. Well, two more glitches that we can kind of stack up together. Yeah. So we're gonna go down
Stanley
here.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
And we're just gonna save this moment right here. Are you serious? You know, fine. I don't understand what's going... Guys, what is this? Every single save I've done. I understand this one because I was saving every 5 minutes. I don't understand why this one is 1:25 a.m. I don't understand why this one is 2:15 a.m. I don't understand why this one is 11:05 a.m. And I don't understand why this one is 10:45 p.m. That is just... Well, I'm more talking about how it doesn't make sense, how I timed it perfectly every
What
time
horrible secret did this place hold?
to
Stanley
be
thought to himself.
divisible by
He had
5
the strength
every
to find
time. It doesn't... I don't know how that happens. Like, I accidentally saved on a 5-minute mark on
Each bore
every
the
single
number
save
of
that I
an
ended up
employee in the
keeping.
building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be
I
true.
don't have...
Had Stanley really been under someone's control?
I don't know
all
what
this
to do
time? Was this the only
with that.
reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
So we're gonna do this one Easter egg. And there's also gonna be a glitch that comes alongside it. The two in conjunction kind of are a little funny. So we'll just put them together. Then we're gonna go for the standard ending. And then we're gonna finish off with the one ending I have not done in this game. And we're gonna spend a solid hour enjoying the last ending of this game. Some of these quotes. You know, let's find a couple other good ones. Secret Room 2014. Secrets of the Year every year. High Resolution Secrets. Super Secret Bros. Secret Modes Engaged. You Never Go Secret. Secrets. Go Secret Rangers. Disco Secrets. William hides the best secrets. There's so many good ones. And what better way to celebrate all these secrets? To climb up one of these tables. And fall. Okay. You get the idea.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret
Around
did
that,
this
it's
place
actually 1
hold?
hour and 10
Stanley
minutes.
thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
For right now, it is 10:50 p.m. Ha.
Now
Ah.
the monitors jumped to life,
Good joke,
their
Jimbo.
true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's
Alarm!
co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh god, it's not the Wario laughing
This
video.
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Because aggressive
Had Stanley
salesman.
really been
Ha 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 ha,
control
I get
all this
it.
time? Was this the only reason he was
Very
happy with his
funny.
boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept
No,
his
I get it. I can see where it was going. I get it now.
No. He refused to believe it.
But I don't
he
get it as
couldn't
much as I
accept
love
it.
this
His
fuzzy
own life
sweater.
in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
You sleep now? Have a good night, Griff. Happy New Year. Yes, that's quite the way to get perked up
And
and
a rising
awaken.
chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won.
It's
He
actually
had
kind of funny to
defeated the
look up
machine.
right underneath it,
Unshackled himself from someone else's command.
because
Freedom was mere
you don't actually get to
moments
see the
away.
light for the most part.
And yet,
So all you
even as
see
the
is
immense
just a
door
dusty
slowly
roof.
opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Like it's just dusty.
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's
Kinda
grasp?
gross.
What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
It's kind of gross to
But
be
as
this close to the
sunlight
door.
streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
And then after
For
a
it
few
was not
hours,
knowledge or even
oh,
power
it's
that
finally
he had
a
been seeking, but
big
happiness.
light.
Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
And
Whatever
slowly
life
the
he
door
lives,
starts to
it
actually
will
pick
be
up its speed,
his.
because now you actually get to
That
see the
was
actual
what he
movement
needed
it's
to know.
having.
It was perhaps the only thing.
And
Stanley
bam.
stepped through the open door Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin.
I just noticed
The
there's
feeling
something weird
of
on the left.
liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way,
It was
right
odd.
now,
It was like
that
a
things were
quick
meant to
second for me
happen.
to actually look at it. I didn't really think
And
about it though.
Stanley was happy.
We're not gonna worry about it though. We're gonna do one more thing. One last thing. We're gonna enjoy this for a solid hour and 5 minutes. It's time for us. It's time for me to escape Stanley Parable. After
Although this passageway had the word
23
escape
hours.
written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
23 hours, soon to be 24 hours. I'm done with this.
The door
game.
behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I'm not turning back.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I'm fine with that.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Let's take some time to enjoy and reflect on the last 23 hours of Stanley Parable. I've seen a lot of this stuff many, many times. So many times. Too many times. It's a really nice game. I explored so many different paths in this. So many different routes. I learned so many different things. just by playing the same game over and over. This game has a lot to it. There's a lot that comes into this game. There's a lot that was put into this game. There's a lot you can do with this game. And there will be more with the update that will be coming out eventually. I love so many of the little details in everything they do. These paintings, they encapsulated what it would feel like to work in like an office like this so well. But one of the interesting things about going for the commitment achievement, but not by cheesing it, but by actually choosing to play the game for as much as humanly possible within like my limits. It shows while this game is really big and it has a lot, it's also extremely limited. Like, this game is just incredible in what it was able to achieve and what it was able to create. It's a really fun game. It's a really awesome game. But it also has, like, when I say it's very limited, I do mean that genuinely. Oh. There's a couple of emails. Is there a way for me to flick through them, or is it just... terrifying? Like, playing through this game, I ended up coming across, like, the majority of the main content from 12 a.m., which is when I started. I got to a point where I was starting to feel like I was running out of options by 2:30 a.m. It was at that point that I decided that the best strategy would be to to keep things going, especially as I was already quickly losing spirit. I was losing interest in this because I was running out of things. I was like, there's no way this is going to last. I'm too tired anyways. So I was like, let's go for the enlightenment ending. It's literally 4 hours. This is the quietest time of the day. Nobody's going to be around. There were people around. But it was a very long and grueling 4 hours. I don't think I will ever work in anything ever that will be as grueling and exhausting as those 4 hours. It's all good, Jimbo. I appreciate the sentiment. How do you make the worst game ever? What is the difference between a duck? Good questions. This, while it was kind of with the intention of, like, it was fun to, I wanted to interact with people, I wanted to have this happen. A lot of this ended up being a lot of just for myself. Like, it kind of started off as a joke. Like, haha, I'm gonna stream this game for 24 hours. Won't that be funny? How insane and mentally deranged I am to make this decision. And it ended up becoming a lot. This is something that comes up with me in a lot of things, and just in my life, like a lot of the stuff that like I end up putting myself through, like it helps me learn a lot of patience. It helps me understand things that I wouldn't understand, or I might have had some kind of understanding, but it shows me something else. I remember this. Oh, it's something similar to this. They had this in the demo. Like, I know I say enlightened a lot, but the 4-hour thing was actually genuinely enlightening. That quite literally, the final 60 minutes of the enlightenment ending, actually my mind shifted dramatically. It could be desperation. It could very easily be just my brain had no idea what to do at this point, so here we're just going to do this with these thoughts because I don't know what you're doing and I don't understand how to calculate it. I don't know what to do with this stuff. So it kind of created an explanation for what was going on. There is an explanation that the narrator gives you as to what his art is supposed to illustrate. But it ended up coming off to me as something else. It kind of turned into, the experience taught me, like, the importance of, like, or the dangers of focusing on too many small tasks and just kind of getting caught in an endless cycle where you're not able to work on any of your longer term tasks because you're too focused on all your short term goals. Like, the way I saw it was, you've got this baby and this puppy, and the baby is crawling to the fire, the puppy is falling into the pit of piranhas. Obviously, the only way... It broke me. What you had to do was you press the button to save the baby. What to do to save the puppy is you press the button to save the puppy. Now, those were short-term resolutions, because as you could clearly see, when you're going through that motion, you immediately are... The baby and the puppy are immediately put back into immediate danger. Within 5 seconds of you pressing that button, you will need to press the button again. And within 5 seconds of hitting it again, you need to press that button again. Now, the long-term resolution, let's pretend that these two characters actually are real and that there's a real threat of danger for them. The long-term resolution would be to be like, oh, I'll just go pick up the baby and I'll make sure that they don't walk into the fire anymore. But because you've locked yourself into too many short-term tasks, saving the puppy and saving the baby, if you go to try to save the baby, the puppy dies. Likewise, you go make the resolution of, well, I'll just quickly go grab something so that I can fetch the puppy out of the bucket so it's not going to die from the piranhas. That means that trying to work on that long-term thing is going to prevent you from saving the baby, because now you're too you've locked yourself into these two short terms, and you force yourself to a point where, in order to work on your long-term projects, you have to abandon some short-term ones that might be critical or essential for something. So if you let yourself get too overwhelmed or caught up in short-term projects, you're just not going to be able to work on your long-term challenges, long-term issues, long-term things you want. So you just never get to grow, you never get to advance, you never get to grow as a person. Because you're too focused on what's immediate, and you don't get to see what's ahead, what you want to work towards. I will not lie, like, those thoughts, they're thoughts of a crazy person. They're thoughts of somebody who quite literally snapped while forced to do the same thing for 4 hours. Very much things that would cause insanity. I have experienced insanity before. I've been in an emotional state where I could watch the world burn before me, and I would not have had a single issue with it. But even then, just it's when you really start feeling insanity, it's something that you can really see. And it's so strange to recognize that you have maybe not fully lost your mind, but like a part of you, like to be able to recognize that you've snapped to some degree, and that your brain is just kind of like desperately clawing at everything to try to piece it together to make it make sense, because you have no idea what's going on and you just need something to piece together the random spread out mess that's happened. It's so tired and caught up by the monotony that it just needs some kind of clarification as to what's happening to understand what you're doing. It was actually like an incredible experience to go through the Enlightenment ending. Would I recommend it to anyone? No. Never. Do not go for it. It's not worth it. The cost is way too great for the reward. But the reward is very interesting. It's only going to be rewarding for some people, though. There's a lot of people where they would get this reward and it would just not do anything. In fact, it might actually hurt a lot of people. That's the alarm for when I woke up from my 3-hour nap between hosting Mega Boot League Monday and Many Arms Monday, having dinner, and then quickly falling asleep to make sure I got some manner of rest before this marathon. So as it currently stands, I have been awake for over 24 hours. You're probably wondering how I feel about that. Because it's actually not too common for somebody to be awake for 24 hours or more. That's a really long time. I'm very, a little bit about how I feel. My brain, like, I'm not sure if it's something that's personal to me or it's something that happens with other people, other bodies, other minds. But as soon as my mind and body like recognized what was going on, what I was doing, I was like, oh hey, I'm going to be doing this. I'm not going to rest for 24 hours. It kind of threw itself into a very recessive state. Like, it was a very dormant state, to more accurately describe. Where my body was like, yeah, you're going to be we're going to kind of go on to like a half asleep cycle here where you are still awake. You are still aware of what's going on. You still have enough cognizance to be able to do what you need to do. But it's not going to be fully active.
Stanley stood on the snow. Stanley walked over the bridge.
My mind very much this entire time. Like, my reactions, my movement. Like, I can tell, like, I'm very weak.
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Now then, this elevator for sure, you're getting right back on track to where you...
Like, it's a weird feeling to have your mind and body be in such a dormant state, but still, like, active. Like, it feels like my body's still asleep right now. It's felt like it's been asleep this entire time. The worst parts genuinely was like 6, 8 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours. And well, it was a lot of like a mental snap that kind of changed things. And then from there, I was able to pretty safely just move through the rest of the day. Like, anybody who was watching much of the stream, they noticed, like, I stumbled around a lot whenever I got up. Like, there were several parts where my body just didn't function. My voice really struggles right now. It's gotten scratchier and rougher. And more sore because there have been breaks. I've drank lots of tea. I've done things that I can do to help soothe my voice, but it's literally been talking, not nonstop, but very solidly and consistently for about 24 hours. Approaching 24 hours. By time, in 40 minutes, I'll have had more conversation. I will have said more things than a lot of people might say in the entire first month of January. Just in my first day. And that's crazy. It's crazy that you're still listening to Wario laugh. Garfield cards. That game would be even worse because there's even less content than this game. Like, now that we've kind of looked over all this stuff here, I'm probably going to get into a little more of a rambly state. I'm going to talk more a little bit directly about everything that was kind of going on, some of my thoughts, some of my feelings of things were happening. If you want to do it, go ahead. To explain Stanley Parable, though, like to do 24 hours, as I said before, the first 2.5 or so, it was relatively easy to get to the point where I kind of covered most of the main endings, most of the main interactions, most of the main things. It was just, and I got to a point where I was like, I have to do this, because if I don't do this, then everything else is going to run out even more quickly, and then I'm not able to, I'll just literally run out. Spending 4 hours playing a worse version of every cookie clicker known to mankind. Except for like 6. Oh, God, my brain, it's difficult for me to even carry conversations. Like, even if there's the slightest distraction, I lose my train of thought. I can completely forget what I was doing. But, like, I needed to do that because if I didn't go for the 4-hour run, I would have ran out. I would have ran out so much more quickly. And I might not have brought me the opportunity to explore in some of the ways that I did explore. So I ended up going through the 4-hour thing. Ended up finishing that portion and reaching enlightenment around 7:30. I am very insane. We're just talking right now. Just enjoying the final room. Or the second last room. We've still got one more room to go before we're finally done. If you'd like to join me, Choice, I'm just talking, I'm just rambling. If there's any questions you guys have for me, feel free to ask them. After that, yeah, I had a little bit more drive to look at a couple of the things that I already looked at again. So that helped me have a bit more opportunity to repeat some interactions, do a couple of repeats here and there. It was because of that I was kind of started playing a little bit more differently and allowed me to find the salesman technique, the aggressive door pushing that has led to a new beautiful glitch that was another hour's worth of content that I gotta explore. One of the moments I actually look back fondly from this entire thing, at least right now, is after 4 hours of pressing 2 buttons and being extremely strained and exhausted from it all and just done with it. I inputted the final command on the monitor at 7:35 or so and entered button heaven for the first time during that stream. So I transitioned from quite literally button hell to button heaven.
Where were all of his
I just ascended.
Oh, I don't
It
know.
was actually really
They're
pleasant.
throwing a surprise
I had
party
breakfast, I chilled out.
Button pushing. Does that sound plausible to you? No.
It was a very
Listen,
relaxing time.
Sure, we'll get him right back on track to where he was supposed to. Now look
Uh,
at this, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design.
Some other things that,
Textbook
after that,
it's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you had even the most
I
fundamental understanding.
kind of got to the point where, yeah, I looked at a couple other things. I started,
Probably spend the next hour trying to solve it.
I just ended up discovering
Just gonna make
that
this in
glitch.
this elevator for sure. We'll get him right back on track to where he was.
And I started spending a lot of time just running around, seeing how I can use that glitch, where I can exploit it, what it can do. Gilly ended up posting me a list of glitches in this game. And I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And I flipped through all the glitches, and it's like, none of them really do anything. There's one glitch that I ended up skipping, mostly because I forgot. In the warehouse, if you crawl along the boxes and the gate to the left, you can actually land right on the warehouse boxes over on the side, and you can crawl along that. And from there, you can slowly go down, but you eventually find out that there's about this little level of the platform that basically just is considered a dead zone. You can't land on the trucks, you can't land on the vehicles, you can't land on the boxes there, because they're just below the dead zone. So you enter here, and then you're dead. There's nothing high enough in those for you to kind of wander around on that you can reach, or at least I couldn't reach. It was a cool moment. Going into a little bit more of that glitch and what it kind of did and how it was entertaining for me was like being able to remove the narrator from so much of the game. Just take him out and go over and go to the new games style where he's asking feedback. He's like, here's this new mode and so on and so forth. But it's just silent the entire time. You're just walking through, all of a sudden, there's a feedback door. You're like, oh, well, I guess I could give feedback on whatever that was. And then bam, you're back in the other room. Now there's a scoreboard and 3 doors again. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, just 30 more minutes. And then obviously my personal favorite, going for the not Stanley ending, or whatever it's called, where you pull the plug on the phone and you just awkwardly stand there staring at this phone with the light fixture focused on it, and you can't. He has a lot of dialogue there, but you get to hear none of it because he's not there. So you're just awkwardly sitting there. Like, you just go over and just, it's so bizarre. You're just standing in this room. You're just staring at this light fixture. You hear nothing. This is all you see. And you sit there for like 3 minutes with this being all you have. And then exactly what Jimbo said. He throws up the little video, like the old-timey video guide explaining how choices are important. But like for the first 2/3 of it, his voice still isn't loaded in. So it's literally just, rather than a thing talking about choice and how you can make choices in your life, and this is a guy who can make choices, it just, you see the word choice on the screen. Then it shows you a picture of a man. The man giving a child a flower. Then he pulls out oil and a torch to set the child on fire. And then it says sense. And then it shows a lot of convoluted math that isn't needed at all, and then equals fish. And without any of the dialogue, all you can infer from that is 2 + 4 = fish. Perfect. Done. Makes sense. And then it shows 2 people, and it crosses one of the people out. So I just look at that, I'm like, that person doesn't make sense. No sense right there. This man, no sense. Fish. 2 + 4, fish. Fish's sense. And then just the word practice pops up. You're like, okay, you don't know what to work with because none of the dialogue is there. And it shows how important the dialogue is for this game. Like, I didn't show it, but one of the other favorite things that I have by skipping that dialogue is you go to the warehouse, because that's pretty much the only area I can access by doing that route that I opened up. You go to the warehouse and you just jump off the cliff. There's no snide remarks, no laughable applause, no jokes. You just walk off the cliff. You die. Game starts over. No commentary on it. One of the things that I was genuinely wanting to happen with this glitch that I never ended up getting to happen, one of my favorite, I really wanted it to work is the insanity ending. The one where you go to the bottom floor rather than go up to the manager. What I wanted to be able to do was to find a way to glitch not only the upstairs to scare away the narrator, but to glitch the downstairs with the aggressive salesman technique. So that you would go down there and there would be no dialogue. None. Whatsoever. So you would just be standing around, wandering around aimlessly, and then you would just start floating. And then eventually stars would pop up. And then your character's eyes would close. Your eyes would open. And then everything would start turning red. And then everything would go black. And that was it. And then it's just a picture of you lying there dead on the ground with this woman staring at you. That's the ending. That would have been hilarious. That didn't happen, of course. I couldn't get it to work. Would have been... I tried to do the insanity glitch. It doesn't work that way. The door's a little too fickle. They've got 2 doors set up there, so it's extra protected. And you have to take a decent amount of steps out before the doors actually start closing and the stuff happens. I also did a bit of experimenting with the isolation ending, where you just close the door at the start. You're like, I don't actually want to go outside. I found out, like, if you walk right in front of the door and close it, but you're locked into that room now, as long as you don't take the 1 step back that you need to activate the cutscene, it still considers you outside. It considers the door open or whatever. So it's like, you can still wander around. It still thinks you can still wander around and everything. So it's playing the standard basic music that's just kind of repeating itself to get things going, to get you started on your adventure on the Stanley Parable, to get you to those 2 choices. But you can't, because you locked yourself into your room. So eventually you just kind of take a step back, and then the music fades, and then that happens. I'm sitting here thinking, I probably went to this a little early. We've still got about 22, 23 minutes until what I'm looking for comes up. So I've got to fill in another 23 minutes or so. 22 minutes now. I don't have a problem with that. I still haven't even finished talking about everything. I'm a very rambly person. If I have content to ramble about, which I at times struggle to find, but when I find it, I literally can talk and talk and talk non-stop, and I don't have an issue with it. I like talking. It's actually kind of fun, especially once you get kind of used enough to your own voice, where you hear your voice and you're like, I don't want to choke myself. It's nice. It's cool to have people listen. I've done basically nothing for the last half hour except wander around this room, looking at things and rambling. You're still all here. There's a lot of you still here. Like, a lot more than I would expect. It's really interesting. I also like it because, like, while I do enjoy rambling, I do enjoy being able to interact and kind of just have all of this come out. It's also interesting because in the right context and conversing with the right people, you could ramble You zone out most of the time. It happens. Wario does that. But in the middle of a rant, take a pause. No, somebody replies, and then you respond to that, and you continue the interaction. So even though you're basically in a rant, like, my rants are a little more open usually, or at least try to make them more open than most people. I feel like when I know a lot of people who, when they get into a rant, I've had to say their name like 10 times to get them to notice that I'm trying to say something. That I want to add something to the conversation, and I don't want to just listen to them go at it. It's annoying. It's aggravating. Like, rants are cool, but also, like, it's important to be able to recognize when maybe somebody wants to have input in it. Maybe Jimbo wants to talk about Bish's sense. Maybe Choice wants to remind me that I have made a terrible decision to stream the Stanley Parable for 24 hours. They're not wrong. Depends on what the opinion is. My voice is really ready to give out on me. We're almost there, though. Not too much more to push. I could quickly pause for like 2 minutes on my rants, fill this up again. Maybe I want to talk about Wario laughing because that turned into my nightly activity. Exactly. Maybe Wario's laughs are just that interesting. He has a really cool laugh, not gonna lie. It's really entertaining. And some of the things people have come up with to play around with that, it's hilarious. How they warp his laugh and just twist it into a wheeze. Yeah, my voice will be fine. I've got short shifts at work. I'm taking the next 2 days off. I will make it the announcement here, I guess, for anybody who is keeping track of the stuff I do, interested in the things I do. Next Monday, I'm going to be doing... I've got the schedule planned out as it is right now. I'm going to carry out with that. Next Monday, I'm going to do one more Many Arms Monday. Hopefully Shrimps is back so that he can get Mega League Monday rolling up again. But if he's still on hiatus, I will continue Mega Boot League Monday. And then after that, I'm not streaming for until the next one. Like, I'm going to take the entirety. I'm going to take Tuesday off. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll come back Monday. It's the main day. It's the big day. It's the day I care most about. It's the day I want to do. It's the day that I'm most passionate about because it's the biggest day. It's the Arms Day. It's the day I focus on the thing that literally has defined me to this point. It's literally the thing that every single person in chat right now, plus or minus like 1 or 2 people. If Arcanus is here, he's not here from Arms, he's here from World of Warcraft. There's maybe 1 or 2 other people who show up here every now and then. Pheno's another example. But like 95% of the people I interact with, 95% of the people I'm here to talk to. No, I'm not saying you're here for Arms. I'm saying we know each other because of Arms. I'm saying it's my way of kind of like giving thanks to Arms and the community as a whole. Like, the Monday is the celebration of what gave the opportunity of what really has me happen. What this channel is, who I am. I've grown so much as a person. I've learned so much about myself that I would have never found out if I never got into arms. I wouldn't be a part of a community with Jimbo, with Serp, with Griff. I love Griff. He's an amazing friend. I met up with him for just Smash Brothers gaming, random events. I was like, hey, do you want to come to this Facebook event I got planned with a bunch of my friends? You're welcome to come. And he looked into it and he was like, yeah, I can come over. I got something planned so I can join up. You're very much an important part of the community. And you still are. Like, you're an important person. There are things that we disagree on. There's things that we see differently. We don't always see eye to eye. Nobody does. But that's the thing about being human. It's the thing that... It's why we're all who we are. It's how things kind of work. It's how society works. I work as well as I do as a personality for arms in the community because of who I am. Because I'm transgender. Because of my social anxieties and awkwardness. Because of just my love and passion and care for so many people. It's because of that that's like led to all of these things. See, I was just talking about how I was like, oh, we've still got like 20 minutes or so. I don't know how I'm gonna fill this all in. We're halfway done there already. We got 14 minutes. Easy. But like, it's why arms is so important for me. And it's why Monday is like now officially the most exciting day of the week for me. Because that's when I get to do the thing that brought all of this to be. I'm fine with people moving on with arms. I'm fine with a lot of people not enjoying it anymore or having issues. 15 more minutes and this insanity is over. I do not disagree with you. I am indescribably exhausted. I'm very tired. To have this end would be delightful. Also, I thought you were Jimbo because your shades are very similar on my screen right now. And I'm too tired to recognize this half the time. Would have never gotten so much into Smash or even found any of your friends not directly through arms. Wait, hang on, I can't even read that properly. Never would have gotten so much into arms or even found any of the friends not directly met through arms that I know of were if not for arms. Exactly. Like, even, like, the arms community brought so many of us together in so many ways that even though a lot of people stepped away, like, you move step down. Jam still plays arms from time here and there, but he's kind of like not really too focused on it anymore. Riding Guard is moving on to Pokken. Like, in most of these cases, like, usually, well, in all of them, like, there are connections and friendships that these players and people have that were created because of arms. Like, we found ourselves through there. Confirmed in DMs with me that he's kind of taking the same route. I'm not surprised. I don't have a problem with that. If that's what he wants, power to him. Rock Smash. It's an awesome game. But, like, that's the thing with communities. It brings people together. It lets you find people that you would have never ever imagined. That's what the World of Warcraft community I had for the longest time was, and still very much is. While my interactions with them are a lot more irregular, a lot less frequent, like, a lot of those people are still family to me. There's a lot that I have now that I would not have if not for them. Like, I'm somebody who clings to communities. Jobs are very difficult for me because even if I find myself in a dead-end job, I usually I cling onto the job because it's a community. I like the people. I get really attached to them. Even the worst jobs, in many cases, it hurts so much to leave them. But that's kind of what streaming has become for me, where it's like a way for me to kind of get away from that. Because while I still have a good community, I still have a lot of people I care about at work, I have a lot of you now. Like, I've got more of a community. I don't have to run around hunting, clinging onto any hope of like a group of friends that might work out for me, and then just still don't feel like I fit in. Like, this is an incredibly selfish thing to say, but this is my channel. I've built my community. Pretty much everybody who's in the community is here because of me to some degree. You are literally watching because of things I've done. Like, to some degree, it's like what Jimbo just said a while ago, where it's like, I'm streaming Stanley Parable. Of course he's gonna watch. But it's like, in a lot of other cases, it's like, I don't know. I'm actually comfortable. I'm comfortable enough to do a 24-hour stream without makeup. My facial hair is extremely visible right now. My hair is like, alright. I kind of sprayed it and combed it, and that's about it. My voice has gotten deeper and raspier as it's gotten more and more worn out. But that's fine. I am slowly dying. I do worry about it. And I'm not going to stop worrying about it. A lot of this stuff for me is, it's not because, I'll read through that in a moment. A lot of it is, like, I do worry about this stuff, but I used to worry about it because I was scared of what others would think about these things. But now it's not, I'm scared of what others think. It's, I am fine with what others think. I'm fine with it. But I would rather it not. I would rather not have a beard. I'd rather have something else down there. That's why I'm going to have that surgery. I'd rather have a higher pitch, a more effeminate voice. But, like, there's a line between pushing yourself too far to degrees that aren't healthy and not ever being able to be comfortable with yourself, and working on growing yourself to help you become more comfortable with yourself. To go through Jimbo's huge message, we'll just do that right now. The ARMS community has definitely brought me to the happiest point in my life. Had I not decided a year and a half ago that I wanted to get ARMS as soon as I could, I wouldn't know any of my best friends online. I wouldn't have gotten into competitive Smash. and I wouldn't have met any of the people I know in real life in the Saskatchewan Smash community. I am uber grateful for the last year and a half of my life. I'm also glad even I, some dumb nerd in his parents' basement, could be such a person. Perfect. I am enjoying who I am. And Jimbo, from what it sounds like, he's enjoying who he is. That's genuinely the thing I want most with the people I talk to, the community that I'm building, is we're a community of people who want to build each other up. We're a community of people who, while there are going to be points where there is going to be slight conflict or snaps or issues here and there, but we're going to be a community where we want what's best for as many of us as possible. We want to be cheerleader for everyone else of us. No, you are, Jimbo. And I guess that's all somehow brought me here. To play Stanley Parable. The Stanley Parable.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
How it's brought me here, to this very moment, to stream Stanley Parable for 24 hours. Had I not been with ARMS, had I not met this community, I very likely would have never had the confidence or the desire to stream this. I might have played it. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. One way or another, this was going to happen. But it probably wouldn't have happened as a stream. I wouldn't have had the strength to go 24 hours. I wouldn't have found that opportunity. And it's all come to this. I'm just stalling for time right now. As any of you might be fully well aware, the ending is moments away. Literal moments. Gaddy has something he says, just wants to keep this short and to the point. It's late. ARMS was a catalyst for me becoming the most social person I've ever been in my life. And I'm very grateful to have met so many people to laugh, feel, and generally feel like I can be my true dumbass self around them. Gaddy, I love you. You're a wonderful guy. I love all of you. You're all such fantastic people. We're all fantastic people. We all have so many amazing opportunities and capabilities. Sometimes the world's not going to give us those opportunities. Sometimes it's not going to give us those chances that we feel like we want, we need, or we deserve. We're not always going to get them. But that's okay, because I know this is an extremely mushy and dumb and lame thing to say, but we've got each other. We'll push through it. We'll get through. We'll see a better day. We just need to keep pushing. A little bit by little bit. And one day, things won't be so bad. Everybody crying about The last year being terrible. Here's to the next year. Oh, this year sucked too. Here's to the next year. That one's going to be so much better. Rihanna says, Arms pretty much did the same for me, Jimbo. Like, I feel the most comfortable with doing what I want to do in life. I feel like I know what I want to do. It's done so much for me. I wish I could have given more back to the game, but it's been tough with staying afloat and staying sane and having to give up a lot for the sake of living. You'll be there. We'll all be there. We'll all be there together, in one way or another. Even if we weren't to talk to tomorrow, or the next day, or the next week, or even the next month. We know each other. We trust each other. We care about each other. We'll always remember each other. And with that, it's time to bring this all to a close.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
Thank you all for watching. Happy New Year.